They say you should be yourself unless you can be Batman, then be Batman. The same can be said for meeting your heroes. You shouldn't meet your heroes, unless of course that hero is Allan Langer.
Yeah! OldSkool Broncos! Yeah!
Welcome back to the OldSkool Broncos Podcast, where we talk all things Brisbane Broncos from a fan's point of view. The history, the culture, the players, the moments, all the things that make the club what it is. In today's episode, it's a bit different. It's not a season review, a rivalry breakdown, or a deep dive into tactics. It's personal. They say you should never meet your heroes. But I'm here to tell you, that's not always true. There's a reason people say not to meet your heroes. Often, the reality doesn't match the picture you've built up in your mind over the years. And once that picture changes, you just can't get it back. But sometimes you meet someone who lives up to everything you thought they were, and more. For me, that's Allan Langer. When you finally meet someone you've admired for years, the encounter can go one of two ways. You've imagined what they're like based on their playing career, interviews, and the stories you've heard. The first real-life moment can either confirm all of that or replace it completely. And it's not always the player's fault if it doesn't go well. They might be tired, under pressure, or simply not in the mood for an interaction. But when the moment misses, the disappointment is real. That's why people often say, don't risk it. Keep your heroes as they are in your mind. But I'm glad I didn't take that advice. You see, I was 8 years old when the Brisbane Broncos first ran out in 1988. It was the perfect time to get hooked on rugby league, and I did, completely. From that first season, Allan Langer stood out. He wasn't built like the other players. He didn't intimidate with size. He outsmarted with speed of thought, skill, and a knack for producing something special when it was needed most. For me, that was enough. I was a fan. Posters went up on the bedroom wall, footy cards were collected and swapped, and I even wrote him a letter. And weeks later, an envelope arrived back to me. Inside was a typed letter on Broncos letterhead. But at the bottom was a personal, handwritten note from Alfie himself. The letter went straight into a frame onto the wall next to my bed. For a kid in primary school, that was euphoric. And as I get older, I began to understand the detail in Alfie's game. The way he read play, the way he controlled tempo, and how calm he was in the most pressurised moments. Then, in 1999, it ended suddenly. Alfie retired mid-season. No big farewell match, no extended build-up, just gone. For Broncos fans, it was a shock. For me, it felt like a chapter had been ripped out of the book. Fast forward a couple of years to 2001, Queensland are about to play the deciding State of Origin match at QE2 Stadium. And out the tunnel runs Alfie Langer, making one of the most famous comebacks in rugby league history. It was my 21st birthday, and what a gift that was. At 35 years old, Alfie had been retired from the NRL for 2 years. But he not only held his own, he dominated. 2 try assists, a try of his own, and complete control of the match. Queensland win the series, he's named man of the match. It felt like the perfect present, and it became one of the most celebrated moments in Origin history. He finished with the final season of the Broncos in 2002, and that was the send-off we didn't get in 99. Over the years I'd met Alfie in passing. Autograph sessions, fan days, quick handshakes, but never in a setting where you could have a proper conversation. Then years later, at a sports lunch, I went up to the bar, and there he was, Allan Langer. He spoke first, friendly, relaxed, like we'd already met. We had a beer, then another, and then a few more. And I built up the courage and told him about the letter from my childhood. And he explained that he always replied personally. If someone took the time to write to him, he believed he should give the time back. That confirmed everything I'd hoped about him. Then, enter the next legendary part of Alfie Langer, the jokester side. The larrikin label isn't just a media spin, it's who he is. Ask anyone who's played with him, and they'll tell you his influence off the field was just as important as his brilliance on it. His Origin comeback wasn't just about the skill. His presence lifted the whole camp, even years later as part of the Broncos coaching and ambassador team. That's still what he brings: energy, humour and connection. His stories from origin are legendary, celebrating a birthday every day for people that didn't even know it was their birthdays. Former teammates and coaches have called him the entertainment director or the morale coach. Someone who knows when to lift the mood, when to bring the group together, and when to break the tension. There's a couple of types of Alfie that people should know as well: the family-friendly Alfie and the adult Alfie. Family-friendly Alfie is the guy you line up to meet. They'll sign your ball, take a photo, and make you feel like you've just met the biggest star in the game. And then there's adult Alfie, and that's something else. When you're old enough to have a beer with him, you get the unfiltered version. Still warm, still humble, but with the added stories and banter that come with a life spent in rugby league. I've seen him at corporate lunches telling stories about grand finals, origins, tours that have the whole room locked in. He makes everyone feel included, whether you've played the game at the highest level or you've just followed from the stands. Since that first proper meeting, I've run into him many times, at functions, in hospitality areas, at community events. Each time, he's been exactly the same bloke. And that's rare in sport. And that's why I can say meeting him didn't just protect my childhood admiration, it strengthened it. So meeting your heroes is a gamble. Sometimes the reality changes how you see them, and not always in the best way. But every now and then, you meet someone who is exactly who you thought they'd be, and more. Someone who was your hero as a kid and who earns your respect all over again as an adult. For me, that's Allan Langer, the little general who could win games, lift spirits, and make you feel like you'd known him forever. He is my Batman. So tell me, have you met your hero? Was it worth it? Did it live up to expectations? Or do you have an Alfie story? I'd really like to hear those in the comments. Remember to like, share and subscribe. This is the OldSkool Broncos Podcast. Let's go Broncos.